Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about hand sewing, hand quilting and English paper piecing. Everywhere that you can find me on the web is listed down in the description box, including my Instagram and TikTok accounts where I do post daily. But today I am coming to you with a temperature quilt update. So it is now day 8 and I'm going to sew day 8 and I'll join it to the end here. But I wanted to talk to you about the temperature quilt, and give you the opportunity to ask me any questions that I can answer. So this here was the first square that I did on the 1st of January. And then it just goes across. I've done different sizes of circles. They don't represent anything in particular, but I think if I had thought about it, I might have done the circles to actually represent something, maybe like windy days, something like that, or I don't know. So this one was the first day that we actually didn't break out of the temperature range for the day and the night, which I didn't actually expect to happen. But yes, and it's happened again today. So today's temperature is also going to be the same. I really like those two. But it's quite hard when you first look at it. You think, oh my god, those colours don't go together. And like especially here when it changed to the purple, I was like, no, that doesn't go, because up until that point I had all these lovely blues and then suddenly I had purple. I was like, no, that doesn't go. But I think over the whole course of the year, this purple is going to be like splattered in there. But yeah, it's quite difficult. And my sister's also been doing the temperature quilt as well, and she said the same. She had one day where it was suddenly a dramatic change in the colour, and she was like, I can't get my head around it. Because you wouldn't do that in a quilt usually, would you? I don't think, unless she was doing something completely random. But I think overall, as we see this quilt grow, it will look perfect. So I'm still using my storage box that I purchased and set up in a previous video. But to be honest, it's getting very messy. One thing that I did change is I didn't use that white tin. I bought myself an Emma Bridgewater sewing tin. This was in the 50% sale. So it's just got my bits and bobs in there. And I'm using this little baggie to store my scraps, and I lose that all the time in there. As you can imagine why. I've seen some people that have got storage boxes and then they've got small storage boxes inside each one, and I think that's a really good idea. But I'll just stick with what I've got for now. So the quilt is going to be 17 of these squares across. So we do have quite a while yet until we're completed the first row. But I am joining them as I go along just to save myself the job. So let's have a look then. So the temperatures on day 8, so the 8th of January, was a high of 2 degrees and a low of 0. I am looking forward to getting into minus degrees, because then that'll be a new fabric. So it'll change the dynamic. It'll go a little bit more into purples, which will help the other purples blend in, I think. So just whilst I'm sewing today's block, I thought I would take the opportunity to answer some questions which have been asked in regards to the make-along. Now, one of the main questions that I get is, what actually is a temperature quilt? So a temperature quilt is essentially where your quilt colours and pattern of the fabric represent the weather, and you decide on that colour scale, and you decide on the pattern. It is completely up to you. In my case, I've decided to do a square block with a circle in the middle. So the square represents the low temperature for the day and the circle represents the high temperature for the day. And then each day I make one of these square blocks over 366 days of this year, and I'll join them together, and that will represent the temperature of the whole year. The second question that I've been asked is, how do I join in? Now, there isn't anything that you need to do in order to officially join in. You just need to start making. However, if you would like to be part of a stitching community, I have set up a Facebook group, which I will leave the link for in the description box below. So you can join that group and you can ask any questions that you want to. You can share photos and inspiration and just chat away to other people who are also making. And there's also an Instagram hashtag as well, where you can share your pictures and get some inspiration as well. Another question that I've been asked is, where am I getting my temperature data from? So I'm not using a weather app or the TV weather, because those are forecasted temperatures. So I'm actually going off information provided by my local weather station on a website called dateandtime.com. They have a section on there where you can access historical weather, and that goes back years, or it just goes back, the last 14 days. So I'm just looking at the section that goes back the last 14 days, and I check on it every day, and then I make the block on that day. So I am always a day behind, because I wait for the temperatures to be published rather than doing it on the day and looking at the weather forecast. So I just find that a little bit more accurate, and I'll leave the link to the website that I'm using down in the description, so that if you also want to check that website, you can do. Also wanted to take this opportunity just to share a little update about my sister's temperature quilt. She's chosen a different block to myself. She's doing a quilt as you go block where it's squares. So the outside fabric represents the low and the inner fabric is the high temperature. I think she's done 7 or 8 days, and now she started joining them on the machine. She's hand sewing the blocks in terms of turning the binding over, but then she's joining them on the machine because she feels that will offer a little bit more security. And these are her temperatures. She's got a lot of William Morris prints and they're just lovely. I can't wait to squish her quilt because I bet it will feel really, really nice. So there we have it, another day on the temperature quilt and another day past of 2024. I hope this video was helpful and also gave you some inspiration if you haven't yet started, because as I said, there's still time to start and there's still loads of people who are requesting to join in, but you don't have to do anything in particular, you just have to start stitching. And if you would like to share your progress over on Instagram, you can use the hashtag OurTempQuilt2024. I'll leave it on the screen and I'll also put it in the description below. But that way I'll be able to see your progress, other people will be able to, and get lots of inspiration. But if you do have any other questions about the temperature quilt or about any of my other projects, sorry if you can hear that. That's the dog playing with her new Christmas toy. But if you do have any other questions about this or anything else, just leave me a comment on this video or message me over on Instagram and I'll get back to you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.